Imagine landing your first real job. The pay is decent, enough for rent, bills, groceries, and a few nights out. You budget carefully, save a little, avoid debt, and follow all the responsible rules. It feels like you're on the right path, but here's the harsh truth. A normal salary, no matter how steady or hardworking you are, will almost never make you rich. It won't give financial freedom, early retirement, or real choices in life. Sarah graduated college in 2015 with a degree in marketing. She landed a solid job right out of school, making $50,000 a year. She worked hard, got raises, got promoted. By 2025, her salary was $70,000. She saved $10,000 per year, thinking she was building wealth. By all appearances, Sarah was being smart. She avoided credit card debt, didn't splurge on luxury cars, and lived a reasonably frugal lifestyle. She even had a nice 401k through her employer. But when she actually sat down and asked herself, "Am I on track to be wealthy?" she got a shock. The answer was no. Despite saving diligently, Sarah's net worth after 10 years was only about $80,000. That's right, $80,000 after a decade of steady work, sacrifices, and careful planning. Meanwhile, the cost of a house in her city had doubled. Cars, rent, groceries, even vacations had all gone up. Her safe money had been slowly eaten away by inflation. The truth is this: earning a normal salary, even with responsible saving habits, will rarely outpace the rising cost of living, especially if you want to achieve real wealth, and most people don't see it coming until it's too late. Here's why. Money grows in three ways: income, investments, and compounding. A normal salary is basically just income. You trade your hours for dollars. You work 40, 50, maybe 60 hours a week. You get a paycheck at the end of the month, and if you're lucky, a small raise once or twice a year. But there's a cap. There's a ceiling. You cannot realistically work 200 hours a week, and your raises are often tied to factors outside your control. Meanwhile, inflation is constantly eroding the purchasing power of your salary. A $50,000 salary in 2015 was worth a lot more than a $50,000 salary in 2025. According to U.S. inflation data, prices have increased roughly 28% over that period. That means that even if your salary increases to keep pace with inflation, you're still barely breaking even. If you only rely on your job to build wealth, you're essentially trying to fill a bucket with a hole in the bottom. The hole is inflation, rising costs, and the opportunity cost of not investing. Let's put numbers to this, because the math tells the story more clearly than any motivational speech. Imagine you start with a $50,000 salary in 2015, saving 20% of your income each year. That's $10,000 saved annually. Over 10 years, you've saved $100,000. That seems like a lot, right? Now consider the reality. Inflation has averaged about 2.5% to 3% per year during that time. Your $100,000 in savings doesn't buy as much in 2025 as it would have in 2015. In real purchasing power, that $100,000 is closer to $78,000. And that's if you did nothing with it but put it in cash or a basic savings account. If Sarah wants to buy a house, a car, or fund early retirement, that money barely scratches the surface. Her wealth is essentially stagnant, slowly losing value while the world around her becomes more expensive. Here's another problem with a normal salary. It's linear. Your earnings grow in a straight line over time. Promotions, raises, and bonuses add incremental increases. But wealth, real wealth, grows exponentially. This is where investing and compounding come into play. Investing allows your money to grow faster than inflation and your salary alone. For example, the S&P 500, measured by the stock market, has historically returned about 10% per year before inflation. Even after inflation, you're looking at roughly 7% real annual growth over decades. That's the power of compounding, money growing on money. Contrast that with your salary. A 2 to 5% annual raise barely keeps up with inflation, and working extra hours doesn't scale indefinitely. There's only so much time in a day. There's only so much income a job can generate.
Another factor people underestimate: lifestyle creep. When your salary increases, your spending often increases in parallel. You start renting a bigger apartment, buying nicer clothes, eating out more. Suddenly, your raise disappears into higher expenses. You're working harder but not getting richer. You're trapped in what financial planners call the rat race. This is why people can make $70,000, $100,000, even $200,000 a year and still feel like they aren't making progress, because income alone doesn't create wealth, it just sustains a lifestyle. Let's look at another example. Mike graduated in 2010 and started working as an engineer, making $60,000 per year. He saved aggressively, putting $15,000 per year into a savings account, earning 0.5% interest. By 2020, he had $150,000 saved. But the average cost of a median home in his city had jumped from $200,000 to $320,000. Mike could have nearly bought a house if he had started saving earlier and invested wisely. Instead, he just kept trading time for dollars. The sad part? Mike followed all the rules. He was responsible, careful, and disciplined. And yet, he still got left behind because his money didn't work for him. It just sat there. Here's the fundamental lesson. A normal salary is not an asset. It is a liability disguised as security. It feels secure because the money comes regularly, predictably. You get a paycheck every 2 weeks. You know how much you'll make next month. But that predictability is a trap. While your paycheck seems stable, your purchasing power is shrinking and opportunities to grow wealth exponentially are passing by. Real wealth comes from building assets that generate money for you, not just working for money. Investments, businesses, intellectual property, and scalable income streams are what turn time into compounding wealth. Without them, even a high salary is just survival income. So, what should you do if you want to escape the trap of a normal salary? Here's a practical framework. 1. Calculate your true expenses. Know exactly how much you need to cover monthly costs and short-term goals. Multiply that by 6 to determine your emergency fund. This is the only cash you should hold in liquid accounts. Anything beyond that is opportunity cost. 2. Invest early and consistently. Every extra dollar should be put to work in assets that grow faster than inflation. Low-cost, diversified index funds like VTI or an S&P 500 ETF are a great place to start. Historically, these funds have returned more than 7% after inflation over long periods. 3. Avoid lifestyle creep. When you get raises, bonuses, or side income, don't automatically increase spending. Instead, channel those extra dollars into investments or debt repayment. This is where wealth compounds over time. 4. Build scalable income streams. Side businesses, rental properties, dividend-paying stocks, or digital products can generate income beyond your salary. Unlike your 9-to-5, these income streams scale without adding more hours. 5. Understand the real value of money. Always think in terms of purchasing power, not just nominal dollars. $50,000 today buys less than $50,000 did 10 years ago, and $50,000 in 10 years will likely buy even less. This awareness helps you make better long-term decisions.
6. Automate investing. Set up recurring transfers from your checking account to your investment accounts. Remove the temptation to sit on cash. Let the compounding magic work silently in the background while you sleep, live your life, and focus on growth. Let's do a quick math example to show why investing matters so much. Imagine $50,000 invested today in a low-cost index fund, earning 7% real returns annually. In 10 years, that money grows to about $98,000 in real purchasing power. In 20 years, it becomes $192,000. Compare that to $50,000 sitting in a savings account with 0.5% interest. After 20 years, you have only $55,000, but its real purchasing power has dropped to about $41,000. The difference isn't minor, it's transformational. This is why a normal salary, no matter how responsible you are, will almost never make you rich. Your money must work for you, not the other way around. Here's the takeaway. Being responsible with a salary is important, but it isn't enough to build real wealth. Saving diligently and avoiding debt protects you, but it won't create financial freedom. Your money needs to grow faster than inflation, faster than your lifestyle, and beyond your salary's limits. Your 9 to 5 is a tool, not a destination. Investments, compounding, and scalable assets are what build real wealth. Start today. Move money into investments, automate contributions, focus on income streams beyond your job, and avoid lifestyle creep. If this helped, hit like and subscribe for more personal finance truths to grow your wealth.